is TWiP. All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of This Week in Photo. Let's dive right into it and start with some introductions. Tony, you want to start? Tell us who you are and what you're doing for the company.
My name is Tony Gibbs. I'm the Vice President of FreeJuice, and I am working on all partnerships and making sure that FreeJuice is up and running and ready for the people at large.
Excellent. All right. And Allison Retina Stewart, what about you? Apparently you built this thing? Like, what's your position at the company?
Apparently, yeah. It started with an idea that has just really evolutionized over the years. I am the founder and director of FreeJuice, doing everything, wearing multiple hats, but also depending on my board heavily. So just making sure everything runs smoothly.
I love it. I love it. In other words, you're the fall guy for all of this, and we'll bring you.
Exactly.
So, well, good. Well, let's dive in. I want to start with, Allison. Let's just have you continue and give us the overall goal of the company and the mission statement and all that. What is the company all about, and who are you serving, and what problems are you solving?
Yeah, thank you. We are FreeJuice. We are accelerating photography we are accelerating diversity in photography through mentorship. So the basis of the organization is to bring together aspiring professionals that want to pursue photography, and then also the established photography professionals, and connect them and create a partnership through mentorship to just really level the playing field in the industry, that which we know is not necessarily the most diverse.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And all right, so we're gonna dive into that a little bit more as we dive into this. Sort of what are the specific things that we're trying to solve here. With the company. I want to dive in a little bit to a real level of depthness and talk about the where we are, where we were a little bit, and then the ideal of where we'll be in like 10 years from now if you have your way. Allison, as we walk through this. Yeah. And Tony, on your day to day, as VP of the company, what does that look like? What are you doing for the company when you get up in the morning?
So I have a full-time 9 to 5. So a lot of my day is spent doing that, and then working at the end of that, helping FreeJuice, making sure that we have the right sponsors and partnerships in place, and making sure that our first event, which will be coming in May, is secured, venue secured, partners secured, and that we can bring all of the wonderful ideas that we have into fruition.
I love it. Cool. When we talk about accelerating diversity in photography, let's set the stage there. Where are we right now in the photography world? And when you say accelerating diversity in photography, are we talking about getting more people with melanin into the art field that is photography? Or are we talking about more diverse imagery in the advertising campaigns that we see, on TV and in print?
Exactly, both. A mixture of both, which will hopefully happen simultaneously, right? The people that are in these leadership positions, and to answer your first question, the lack of diversity kind of shows within the industry, as with a lot of industries. And just having people in leadership is the main goal. So to get these students and aspiring professionals straight out of college, straight out of when they figure out that they want to pursue this career, and partner them with the people that are in the photography industry, that are excelling, that are holding these seats as director of photography, photo editor, producer, photography rep, leadership positions that have the power to curate and host these advertising campaigns and really just dictate what goes out to the world. So I think that the solution in getting just more people of color in campaigns, in these positions, is to get them straight out of school, straight out of when they first just understand that they want to pursue photography. So
yeah. I've had a lot of conversations with photographers. It started accelerating up around the George Floyd thing, and we were having conversations about what it's like on the street, and how do you, as a photojournalist, and how do you separate your emotion from the creation of the art. And one of the things that came up in those conversations that I had was a lot of people were saying, a lot of doors have opened up as companies either wake up a little, or they, maybe it's a diversity quota, or, companies are genuinely feeling like, okay, there is a clear issue here of lack of representation. How do we fix that? I've had companies personally come to me and say, especially when all that stuff was going down, they come to me and say, hey, Frederick, we want to engage, but we don't want to put our foot in our mouth. Like, how do we engage on the conversation and help without making the situation worse? Tony, like when you look at the mission statement for the company, as it stands in 2022, where do you think the most, I guess, effect that you guys can have? Where are the areas of that need the most kind of attention from a company like yours right now?
I would say we need most of attention, like Allison was saying, in positions of leadership. It's not just in positions like where you have to tell a photographer. It's also in photo editor. It's also in producer. It's also in photo art director. It's also even in retouching. We need to have these people in these positions because we're creating visual. If we're creating images, we're creating visuals of like people of color, and who is best to dictate what those images look like than the people themselves, right?
Yeah.
So we need to have us across the board in all those positions, and that has to happen sooner rather than later. I mean, we saw it starting to happen with the George Floyd incident, but it has to go beyond that. We can't just be there for, the days that they say that, okay, this month is for you. We're going to start highlighting people of color on these days. It needs to be a consistent thing. And we hope that with FreeJuice that we can do that and make it something that's not just an afterthought, but something that's consistently thought of.
Yeah. And on that, Allison, how do you keep it permanent? Like, if you make some change and people are like, yeah, we need to have, we need to bring this creative talent on board for this movie or for this ad campaign or whatever. How do you do that? And then, it's not the flavor of the week in, say, 2024, and they hire somebody else. How do you make it stick, from an executive perspective?
Right. And I think that's a good question. And the answer is I don't know right now, but I'm hopeful that, as we get started and as we gain traction and as we get people, excited about the photo industry, excited about the positions that they can incorporate into their career trajectory, hopefully that more people will start to see these positions, because a lot of people don't even know that a photo editor exists. I didn't know until my senior year in photography. And then you get on the other side of having a BFA in photography and don't know what you're going to do. So I have a lot of classmates who have ended up, in a completely different field. But I say all that to say, like, I just think just introducing the possibilities will be a great start. And I think that will be a conversation that leads to longevity in what we're doing.
Yeah, no, I know. It's real interesting to talk to people that are, you've physically built a company around driving this effort. And I've had conversations, like I said, on diversity quota type stuff, especially with people in Hollywood, and it's, one of the questions I've written down to throw at both of you guys is, how does that translate to outside of like the photo editor space where there's, a director of photography on the next Marvel film, and the crew that is underneath that director of photography? How do you inject in that space to make sure that, or to help them even find the right people to put in those positions? What would be the flow? Is that within kind of your realm of target right now, or is that kind of outside of the scope?
I think that may be kind of outside of the scope. That may be when you get in these positions. But I mean, I would say in any situation, just like having those people in the room to just create another discussion and an area of nuance, or just offer a different perspective. Because at the end of the day, what we are creating this organization for is to just have representation across the board. And to just piggyback off of what Tony said earlier, just like thinking about how people of color need to be in the room, how people of color need to be represented. I think it's just more so about just having people of color in these leader positions just represent society. Having people of color in images represents society. Having people of color in advertisements represents everyday life. So, I mean, it's unfortunate that that isn't our reality right now, that we have those people in leadership positions to be able to just have this conversation. But I think that, I think that it's going to be good.
Yeah. No, I agree. And thank you guys for doing this, because I think there's a couple of companies that are leaning forward and forward looking in terms of diversity and all that, especially in the arts and creative spaces. And you're one of them. So thank you for doing all you guys are doing. I think it's amazing. Tony, what's next for the company? Like, if we look forward, I'm asking you, not the founder over there. I want to know from the VP level, what's next? What are you setting your sights on that say, looking forward to like 2025 or something like that, way out there? What does it look like for you?
I mean, outside of just completely disrupting the industry, I think we're looking forward to changing how you look at the photo industry, right? You get out of, if you go to the art school route, you think, okay, I'm going to be a photographer. We're trying to change the idea of like, you get out of you trying to get into the photo industry, you leave art school and you have an idea of where you're going to go. You're going to know this is how the photo industry works. This is how you navigate it. And these are the tools. We are going to completely change all of that and make it more open and make it more equitable for people, especially people of color. For too long, it's been always like a boys club, always the same people being booked for shoots, always the same people being called for these jobs. And there's so much talent out there, and we know it's out there, and we're going to make sure that people can see it.
Yeah. You agree with that, Allison? Is that the target?
I totally agree. Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. You have anything to add to that? Like, from the executive perspective, that's the goal, but anything beyond that, like what are you looking at, like into the far future as the person that's running things over there?
I think, just in addition to what Tony said, just really honing in on just creating opportunities. And we're really looking forward to hopefully putting together an incubator program where we can just really fine tune, define, and strategize how to navigate the career trajectory as a photographer that leads to long-term success. So you don't just have one-off project here, one-off campaign here where you're making, maybe $10,000 on a campaign, which may seem good at the time, but we want to create like a pipeline for longevity where you're continuously getting these campaigns if you want to be a photographer, or you're continuously pitching if you want to be a photo editor, or, you're continuously having a roster of photographers if you want to be a photo rep. Like, how do you do that? And I think that just creating these relationships and forming mentorship is the solution. So
can you take me through that, like a day in the life? So someone's listening to this interview and they're like, okay, this sounds amazing. I want to get involved with that company. Take me through it. I call you up or I get on the website and I get myself into the system. What happens after that? And then what's the end game for me?
Yeah, so I love that term, by the way. That's my term, like what's the end goal? But anyway, so to walk you through it, we're launching our campaign next week. And that's just going to introduce the world to FreeJuice because it has taken a lot of reiterations. It started off as an entrepreneurship collective when I was in New York. And now just navigating the photo industry and being a photo editor myself, I just kind of turned the lens on needing to represent photo industry and get this industry together. So when we launch, we're going to have about 2 months where we're accepting donations. And then the mentorship program will kind of kick off in Q3 or Q4 of this year. And we're just going to see what the vibe is like. We're going to do a lot of just like analyzing our market, analyzing what people need, and then just make sure our mentorship hits all pillars. So when people sign up, we're going to be pairing the mentee with the mentor, and then y'all have to stay tuned for what happens next.
Oh, that's cool. That's going to be good. Yeah, like the master and the apprentice kind of going on over there. Yeah, that's old school.
It's going to be fun, though. And it's going to be something that has never been done.
Yeah, I mean the whole mentee mentor thing that is since the beginning of time almost, right? Where you take like back in the blacksmith days, there's like a blacksmith and then the understudy that learns the ropes from that person, and then creative, or photo editing or whatever you aim your sights at, it's going to be very similar. What Allison, if you could define for me, like if someone's a photo editor. See, that's the direction that I go in. I'm not familiar with what the day-to-day looks like from a photo editing, career perspective. What does it look like?
Yeah, and it's good that you asked that question, because this is why the mentorship program is so important, because previously, before my current position in advertising, I was a photo editor at the NBA, and these two roles have the same title but have completely different day-to-day practices. So, yes, in a day-to-day life as a photo editor, I'm licensing, I'm retouching, I am reaching out to photographers, I'm commissioning photographers, I'm curating photo direction for companies. What else am I doing? I am curating visuals for the social media. It just depends on the day. It depends on the day, but a lot of licensing and a lot of just knowing about usage and contracts.
Okay. Yeah. So a brand, like if I'm a brand and I come to you guys, I say, you know what, I'm going to do this campaign and this is what it's about. Here's the mission statement for the campaign. This is the color palette. These are the people that are going to be in it, et cetera, et cetera. And I need 10 photos that depict these things. Right. So I would come to you and then you would help me find those photos or those assets to drive the campaign or commission them and do all the contract flow, all that stuff. Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
A lot of photo research, I forgot to mention that, but a lot of photo research goes into curating the photo direction for a lot of clients.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. And there's a lot of that. I mean, how big is that, I imagine? Or I have no idea. Like, how big is that career field? Is it thousands of people, tens of thousands?
Great question. It's pretty, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it's pretty fluid out here. But like I said, a photo editor has so many different perceptions. A photo editor, can be a retoucher to some companies, or it can be like in the advertising space, what I just went through and what I just described. So the term kind of has just like a very vague representation right now.
Okay. Interesting. Now I'm intrigued. Now I want to know more. So you're launching. I know I should. I know, why not? You guys. So you're launching later this month, or did you say later this month or later this quarter?
22nd. We're going to launch the campaign to introduce FreeJuice, but the mentorship program will actually start Q3, Q4. So all of the programming will be in the
You got to come back on the show.
I know.
When you launch, and how it's going and all that. Both of you guys, you're welcome back to come back anytime. I have a final question, but I'm going to give both of you the last word. But my last question is, where did FreeJuice come from? Where's the word? Where's the name? I know there's a story behind that. You guys feel it right now.
I feel like I should make one up because the one that I have is not as exciting. But
no, it's not.
Well, give me both. Give me the real version and then give me the fake news version.
Okay. Let me give you the fake news version first. The fake news version. It was a very surreal moment. I was walking down the street of Houston, Texas, and you know what? I just thought I wanted some free juice. Okay, that was corny. No, the real story was. I'm
not signing up after that.
Right. All of our sponsorships are done. But, no, what happened was, so it started out, like I said, it's been in a lot of different renditions. So I started having networking groups and networking events back in 2017 on meetup.com under the name Brunch and Build. And then as it grew larger, it started as just like a round table of 10 to 15 individuals where we would go around the table and say what we needed, what resource we needed at the time, whether that be a connection, whether that be a camera if you're getting ready for a photo shoot, or just like something as simple as needing a ride to a campaign. We all made sure that it happened by the time you got around to the table. But as it started to grow and we started to shift our vision towards inviting all entrepreneurs, it just got out of hand. So, which is a great thing. So our last couple events was, aimed towards about 80 people. And I was just like, I need to make something bigger than Brunch and Build. And I didn't want the meetup.com name to stay along with me. So I just wanted to separate. And I was honestly at, Urban Vegan Kitchen in Lower East Side Manhattan. And I was just like pondering, what am I going to name this? And I looked up and a couple of the letters were out over the bar. And it was just like, it said FR and then juice. And I was like, I got it. It was like an aha moment. I was like, it's free juice, y'all. And I just remember saying that so loud. I was like, this is it. And I'm running with it. And I Googled it. Does anybody else have this, name? And no, so it's ours. That's the real story.
See, the real story is so much better than the fake news story. The truth shall set you free, Allison. That was
right. And you put me on the spot, so it was super corny.
I did. All right, I will let you catch your breath. Tony, I'm going to turn it back to you for the last word on FreeJuice and, increasing diversity in the various creative industries and all that. What's your last word?
My last word is, if you're someone that's interested in disrupting the industry, making the photo industry more accessible to people that look like you, and you're trying to be an innovator, FreeJuice is your place. Come check us out on the 22nd on iFund Women. We're there and we're waiting for you.
Awesome. Perfect. And we'll have the link to all that in the show notes and in the video description, all that stuff. So I'll link to it from everywhere. All right, Allison, you catch your breath yet? You ready?
I am.
I'm gonna give you the last word. What's the last word on FreeJuice and this industry and accelerating diversity, all that?
My name is Allison Retina Stewart. I am the founder and executive director of FreeJuice, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit accelerating diversity in photography through mentorship.
I love it. Hey, and let me know if I can help in any way as you guys push this thing forward. I'm happy to, push the ball up the hill, using whatever horsepower I have. And, congratulations on all this, and congratulations in advance on a successful launch. So, this is past Frederick congratulating future Allison and Tony out there. So
I'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we'll leave it right there. You guys have a fantastic weekend and rest of your Friday, and I appreciate you coming on. We'll hopefully talk soon.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is TWiP.